Hi, I'm Rabbi Zoot, and welcome back to the channel. This week I want to talk about Chanukah. Chanukah is one of those holidays that can be pretty divisive amongst the Jewish community for a lot of very strange reasons. Most common of those reasons is we spend a lot of time in Judaism defending what Chanukah is and what Chanukah isn't. Let me give you an example. Chanukah is not Jewish Christmas. Now, the fact that Chanukah and Christmas so often line up in the holiday cycle makes some sense why people conflate the two, right? When we're going about our business, people want to wish us a happy Chanukah as if it was their greeting of Merry Christmas, right? There's something really lovely and sweet about that. But there's also something a little culturally unaware about loading so much of the emotion of Christmas into Chanukah. It's not the same feeling, it's not quite the same sentiment, and while good wishes are very nice, there's also a little bit of icky feeling that a lot of Jews experience, that it's the commercialism of Christmas that's infected Chanukah to a certain degree. And we like to distance ourselves from that. That makes sense. And yet, we also have what I might call a little bit of communal aggression against those who try and tell us what Chanukah means to us. You ever been to the grocery store and seen the Chanukah display, and it includes things like gelt and candles and matzah and gefilte fish? That should make us a little uncomfortable because it's a nice try. It's a good attempt to make Jews feel included in the cultural milieu, but at the same time, it feels like a half-baked attempt. It feels like we're not really understood at the end of the day. But one of the things I want to challenge is that we as Jews seem to be overcorrecting to that. It's almost become a part of our identity that defending Chanukah to be the secondary holiday that it is a piece of what the holiday means to us. We like to tell people Chanukah's not that big a deal. It's not that big a holiday. It commemorates an odd moment in our cultural history, so we shouldn't put so much emphasis on it. If we're going to give attention to a holiday, why aren't we giving it to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Or why aren't we putting that same energy into Passover? Now, I would argue in our Jewish spaces, we do put that much energy into Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We do put that much energy into Passover. The fact that the rest of the world doesn't understand quite as much what those holidays mean to us, that's okay. They don't need to know as much as we do. We're the ones celebrating. But what I want to give us in this moment, as we're talking about Chanukah this week, the week where we're actually celebrating Chanukah, is what is the point of the holiday? Now, when we get there, we have two different arguments. Answer one is, much like Cinco de Mayo, Chanukah is the celebration of a military victory. We tell the joke about they tried to kill us, they failed, we eat, as our story, and Chanukah plays well with that. The Greeks came in, they tried to tell us how to live our lives. The underdog Jews were able to say, not in my house, and they were able to defend their temple, and we celebrate this military victory and this opportunity to be self-dependent. It's a lovely story. It's not a really very theological story. It's not a very spiritual story. But here's what we do have. We also have the secondary story of the miracle of the little bit of oil that was left over, lighting the Chanukah, lighting the menorah for long enough that we could continue to consecrate our sacred space and we could continue to keep light alive in a time of darkness. Now, do we want to talk about historical fact? People challenge whether or not this is true. What is true, especially when we're talking about the Bible? It's a beautiful story. The sentiment that in the darkest of days, there's enough light to go around, that light will last longer than dark, that we will be protected even in the face of great difficulty, that's true. The story that we talk about gives us an eternal truth, even if it's not a historical fact. And that's really important for us because Chanukah is an incredibly beautiful, important holiday. When we look at it in a vacuum, we don't need to compare whether or not Chanukah is a more important holiday. What is more important? Who gets to decide? But the concept of lighting lights, of coming together as a family, of celebrating the blessing of warmth and togetherness at the time in our calendar where we're experiencing the darkness and the cold of winter, those are all values we can enjoy and appreciate to the utmost without worrying about its context in a larger picture. We spend a lot of time defending our beliefs and our time and our energy to other people. And I worry sometimes that we spend so much of our energy defending Chanukah, or rather, defending our other holidays against Chanukah to the outside world, that we forget that Chanukah is one of the most beautiful times that most average Jewish families actually engage with their Jewish heritage. If you open almost any social media app right now, you're seeing Chanukiot and lit candles and gelt and dreidels in places that most people would never actually put Judaism in any other way. That's an invitation to Judaism, and we should celebrate that. Does that mean that we should ask them to do Chanukah and not Passover? No, of course not. But if Chanukah is the happy Jewish memory, the inroads to a deeper connection, we need to celebrate that for what it is. May this holiday be that opportunity for each of us to see the light in our lives reflected in all of those dark corners, and to maybe even give the gift of giving light to somebody else, to bringing that joy and that abundance to someone who is sitting in the shadows, waiting to be welcomed into something beautiful. I'd love to hear, what are some of your favorite holiday traditions, specifically around Chanukah, specifically around this time and season, or just at all? Because the beautiful thing about Judaism is we invite so many different ways of finding meaning into our lives. And we could do well to be a little less self-critical about how we find that joy. Like and comment to continue this conversation. And thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to keep doing this with you and keep engaging in the conversation. I'll see you next week. Have a great day.